Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Yoga for Everybody session today. My name is Skyla Ramirez. Let's start with a little bit of lymphatic drainage and overall healthy circulation work. So we're going to start seated for this today. From any comfortable seated position that your body finds, and if you think you'd rather lie down, go ahead and have a lay down as well. Let's go ahead and first just give ourselves a big hug, bringing the arms around, noticing which arm is on top because we are wanting to switch this out. So while we're here, shift forward just a tiny bit and maybe even allow the back to round a little more. So we're creating a soft C shape with the spine. Bring the chin in towards the chest, feeling as if we're stretching the back of our neck, feeling as if we are relieving tension just at the base of the skull. When you're ready, lift up, open the arms. Big inhale, like you're ready to give a hug or receive a big hug, and then switch arms. So taking it over to the other side, embracing the body, creating that lovely C shape, chin to chest, shifting forward, rounding through that upper back, keeping the hips grounded into the earth, focusing on breathing into those spaces along the sides of the spine and under the shoulder blades. When you're ready, slowly open the belly. Last of all, lifting the chin, head and neck neutral. Inhale, open. All right, exhale, go ahead and relax those arms. Let's take the left ear over to the left shoulder. Taking your right palm, turn the palm up towards the sky, and then slowly pull that right elbow in towards your waist. Hold it here. Open the right palm out to the side from the hip, and then maybe relax towards the floor, straightening out that arm. So we're creating a nice long stretch along a channel that goes from your right ear to the right hand. Let's slowly bring that right palm down onto our leg. Bring the head to neutral, very, very slow. Let's take the right ear to the right shoulder, nice and slow, holding it there, dropping the left shoulder away from that left ear, turning the left palm up, pulling the elbow back, holding it there for at least 2 or 3 breaths. Taking the hand just a little bit out to the side, and then dropping that hand towards the floor, lengthening out with the arm. Option to close the eyes, feeling a nice big stretch from the left ear, down to the shoulder, all the way down to the left fingertips. When you're ready, let's return that left hand down onto the thigh. Slowly bring the head to neutral, and let that head turn left and right. Let's bring our head to neutral, extending the arms out higher than the shoulders. Bringing the right hand, all of the fingers to touching, making a cup or a soft curved shape with the knuckles. The shape of the hand is if you were going to scoop water to drink. From here, let's turn our left palm down. Starting at the wrist with the right hand, we're just going to gently cuff in towards the shoulder joint. Just a couple times. You can really do this as many times as it feels good to the body, but we're just gonna set up a rhythm and a pattern of 2 pats in. Let's open that left palm. Then from here, bring the right hand onto the wrist, pat it in. Just one more time. All right, let's do the other side. Right palm up, left hand over to the wrist. Bring it into the shoulder, palm down to the wrist. Bring it into the shoulder, palms up, right hand across to the left armpit, patting down under the rib cage into your stomach or into the middle waist region. One more time to the armpit, take it down and pat it into the belly. Let's do the other side. Right or left hand across to that right armpit, pat it down and bring it in. One more, pat it down and bring it in. Now bring one hand or both hands to the center of the chest, one or both, and just add in a little tap at the center sternum, working with the thymus region. Continue to lengthen the spine. We are working on these movements for healthy circulation to hopefully improve overall immune system function as the weather continues to change and we have more and more gatherings where we may be exposed to different viruses and infections. Just want to prime that immune system as best as possible. When you're ready, relax the hands down. Let's go ahead and lie down on our backs. Having our feet open to about the width of the hip bones. Reach the arms overhead, stretching the armpits. And now take those hands down to the floor, pressing the palms in by the sides of the hips. As we inhale, we're pressing into our feet and lifting the hips off the floor, warming up the hips. Exhale, hips come down. Option to bring the arms back on the exhale. Inhale, arms press into the floor and the hips come up. Option to close the eyes, keeping this rhythm, lifting the hips on every inhale, pressing our palms into the earth, lowering the hips on every exhale, and reaching back. Maybe just 2 or 3 more, only lifting as high as we notice we're able to maintain stability and comfort in the core of the body. Breathing in through the nose, out from the throat. Moving maybe just a little more active with a little more of a physical investment than some of our other classes to get this detox going, getting ready for these gatherings. Let's stop with our hips on the floor, place the hands on the floor as well. Go ahead and let that left knee go out to the side, just the left knee. So it's almost like half of a butterfly pose lying on our backs. We may want to put both hands on the right hip while that left knee is pushing out. So we get a nice big stretch diagonal from the inside of that left knee into the right hip. We may want to take our left hand onto the left thigh, ever so gently assisting that knee to neutral, taking the feet to hips width again, placing the hands on the left hip, allowing that right knee to go out to the side, just a very gentle abduction. This can, in its essence, it can help to stabilize the outer hip muscles, pressing down into that left hip. We're working on stretching from the left hip across the pelvis and connecting tissues that go to that right knee. Also working on lymphatic drainage in this hip and gut region. Let's take our right hand to the right thigh, giving a bit of assistance and lifting that right knee. Feet coming out to the width of the hips. Let's tilt and lift that pelvis just one more time, just finding some neutral stabilization in the hips, holding bridge pose, squeezing the glute muscles. Imagine a yoga block between the knees. We're able to squeeze and balance out the abduction with a healthy adduction, squeezing with those knees. Slowly lower the hips. Let's bring both feet in towards the chest, placing the hands on the sides of our thighs or behind the knees, taking a moment to check in. We definitely want to keep the shoulder blades flat to the floor. So if we're reaching and it feels like there's a pull or there's a lot of effort, just try to relax those shoulders back. Let's let the knees sway gently left and right. So we work to stretch with those half butterflies across the front of the pelvis region. Now we have this healthy little contraction here, protecting the front of the pelvis, working that stretch onto the sides of the hips and the back sides of the hip girdle. Let's come to a still point with this. Point the toes. Now extend the legs up Then push through the heels, and we'll point and flex those feet a few times. Just warming up some of the muscles in the legs before we stand up and do any weight bearing with the body. Let's roll out the ankles. Making sure that we go both clockwise and counterclockwise with our feet, allowing the ankles to explore a really healthy and dynamic range of motion. When you're ready, bring the knees in, hug them to the chest just one more time. From here, let's take a moment, lower the feet, and let the knees sway, feet grounded to the earth. Noticing what side feels more comfortable to sway towards, then allow the body to move a little deeper into that twist, rolling over onto our sides, rolling towards where we feel the most comfort, and just holding it here for a moment so that we are allowing the kidneys and the adrenal glands to perhaps just breathe a little bit. When we lie down on our backs, that's a lot of pressure on the back of the spine and a lot of pressure on those organs. Let's use our top hand to assist our bodies up into seated. From seated, we're rolling over into all fours, moving into some cat and cow flow. Now, cat and cow flow can be done a couple different ways, and it is valuable for us to explore those different ways so that we're able to protect our backs. So we first may want to experiment with cat and cow with a hinge from the belly. For this belly hinge, we drop the belly and we're simultaneously lifting the tailbone and lifting the head, shoulders pressed back towards the hips. When we move into cat, we pull the belly button up and we simultaneously are dropping the head and tucking the tailbone under. Let's try this one a few times. Inhale, belly drop, head, heart lifted, hips pressing back. Exhale, belly lift, dropping the head, tucking the tailbone under. Maybe just a couple more. Inhaling, belly drop. Exhale, belly contraction. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhale from the throat. Lips might stay together when we exhale from the throat, creating ujjayi breath, a whisper breath. Let's find neutral spine, exploring our second way to flow and to express cat and cow. So the second way involves a little more articulation or dissection of the spine. To move into cow, we slowly, starting with the head at neutral, slowly begin to release the hips back, creating a tilt back, then dropping the belly, pulling the chest forward, shoulders back, and last of all, opening the throat to lift the head and the neck. On the exhale, we keep our gaze forward now and slowly begin to pull the tailbone down, pull the pelvis in, contract the belly, press into the floor, then drop the neck and the head. So the movement initiates with the hips, ends with the head. Inhaling, initiating from the hips. Last of all, lengthening through the crown of the head, gazing forward. Exhale, pulling in through the hips and pelvis, contract the belly, then drop the head and heart. Just a couple more like this. So when we experiment with both, maybe we notice that the body does have a preference to move in a specific way. So just listen to your body, tune into those patterns of movement that create the most comfort for you. And of course, you could always choose a pattern of movement that's not comfortable, as long as it doesn't feel painful. Let's do just one more cow, one more cat, any way the body wants. Finding neutral spine. From here, let's take it back to child's pose. One of the safest expressions of child's pose is to touch the toes in, open the knees, and maybe come down to the elbows first, just giving the low back an opportunity to stretch and adapt. Also blood pressure as it is an inversion. pressing our hips back towards our heels. And maybe our hips actually touch down to meet our feet, or they can stay lifted. Let's relax the head and the neck. Shake the head, yes. Turn it left and right. Breathe out from the throat and open the mouth and jaw. 2 more. Last one. When your body is ready, take a moment, look forward. Let's slowly press the palms into the earth, maybe lift the elbows, lift the hips, bring the knees into hips width, finding a stable foundation. And from here, easing our way up into standing. Finding mountain pose. Feet are at hips width distance. We're rolling those shoulders down and back, reaching down for the outer edges of our feet. Let's inhale, circle sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, press the palms down towards the heart space, finding our seal of physical reverence, also sometimes known as our seal of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. Let's do a couple more like this. Open the palms. Inhale, circle the arms back. Really open the heart. Exhale, press the palms together and pull it into the heart. Inhaling, opening, scooping up the breath, scooping up gratitude. And then sealing that into the heart space. Holding it here, thumbs up the chest, softening the breath in the body, keeping the breath down low in the belly, the lowest, largest lobe region of the lungs. Let's take our left foot back, bending the right knee. Inhale, open up and pull the elbows back. Exhale, step to center. Right foot goes back, bending the left knee soft, open up, elbows behind the waist. Exhale, center. We'll keep this rhythm of a flowing, peaceful warrior expression. The peaceful warrior says, welcome, open the hands. Exhale, closing, sealing in gratitude again. Inhale, open. Exhale in. Let's do one more on each side to round out our sequence. One more time, stepping that left foot back. Inhale into the nose. Exhale from the throat, lips touching, meeting with both feet at hips width. Inhale, circling the arms overhead. Reaching up, looking towards the sky, shifting forward and back, and maybe coming to a point where we lift the heels. Practicing Brahmacharya, moderation in all things. It's a small lift. More of the energy is isolated in the reach than the lift. When your body's ready, drop the heels, swan diving down, bringing the hands onto our thighs, supporting our spine, relaxing the neck and head. Inhaling, pushing into our thighs, straightening our arms. With a flat back, we're propping up the spine, bending the knees. Reverse swan dive, arms to the side, circle sweep. Bringing the hands to the heart, let's press our hips back, keeping the back flat, finding chair pose, Utkatasana. Circling the arms overhead, extended mountain, looking up. Breathe easy, shift forward and back a few times, giving our bodies a sense of complete support, feeling the floor underneath us, the earth under us, shifting forward, tiny lift of the heels, reaching dynamically with the fingertips, dropping the heels, swan diving, hands to the thighs, drop the head and neck, soften through that middle back, shake out the neck. Inhaling, pressing into our legs, we have a healthy bend in our knees, flattening our backs. Reverse swan dive, circle it up. Exhale, palms to the heart. One more time through that sequence. Inhaling, reach it up, looking up, opening the throat, practicing that little shift and lift, reaching dynamically out from the armpits. Maybe even let those shoulders come up towards the ears just for a moment. We don't want to stay with our shoulders lifted all the time because that can create neck pain, but there is also the benefit of stretching under those armpits and opening up the side waist. When you're ready, drop the heels, swan dive, hands to the thighs from a flat back. We softly round forward and release any tension that might be trying to hide in your neck or head. Breathe out from the throat. Let's straighten our arms, bend the knees, strengthening our low back and core. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Palms pressed together, exhale, thumbs to the center of the chest, seal a physical reverence. Let's take our feet out wide, turning the toes out and heels in, bending our knees and seeing that they move in the same direction as our toes. We're opening up, keeping the elbows bent in towards the waist. Inhale, lift up, straightening the legs, coming into five-pointed star. Exhale, bend the knees and pull the elbows in. Let's continue with this flow. One breath, one movement. Inhale, reach. Exhale, coming down. Moon, flower, flow. So for those of you who are here today live for this session, the timing is just right for this as a full moon approaches. Big inhale and exhale. One more. Exhale, let's add on to this. Inhale, reach up. As we exhale and come down, similar movement, but we're going to change it up by pushing the hips back, keeping the gaze in front of us, and letting the arms sweep. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, now come down, hips back, and sweep the arms. Just a few more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hips back, knee bend, flat back sweep. Last one. This is the sunflower flow. Balancing out the moon with the sun energies. Let's hold it overhead. Press those palms overhead. Walk the feet into hips width. Big breath in. Lace the fingers, keeping the index finger pointed out. Left thumb crossed over the right. This is a specific hand gesture we use to help remove obstacles in our lives. It's called Kali Mudra. From here, we're lifting from the ribs again, looking up. Big inhale into the heart, big breath in. And now exhale, let those hands go. Let's bring our hands to our waist. Stepping our left foot back a casual stride and bending our right knee for a warrior one foundation. On the next inhale, taking the arms straight up overhead, traditional warrior one expression. Lowering the chin and closing the eyes. Feeling once again the foundation through the soles of the feet. Pressing perhaps into the outer blade of that left foot. Shifting forward, pressing into the inner blade of the right foot. One more big inhale, reach. Exhale, soften. On the next inhale, circling the arms behind us, letting the hands rest by the hips, or tuck the knuckles in to touch the low back. Let's straighten our right leg. Inhale, bow out the chest and pull the elbows back. Exhale, allow that heart to lengthen forward, dropping from the trunk of the body, pressing the hips back, and maybe relaxing the head and the neck. Keep pressing to the inside blade of that right foot. Release the hands from the back. Let them hang down towards the floor, or maybe even put the hands on the legs, supporting the spine. Exhaling from the throat here. This is pyramid pose. Let's bend our right knee, walking our hands up onto our right thigh, flattening our back, reverse swan dive. Bring it up, big breath in. From here, let's pat ourselves on the back with our right hand. Then take the left hand down and around, pressing back firm through that left heel and opening up from the right armpit. Holding cow's face arms with our Warrior One foundation, creating another healthy stretch that goes diagonal in the body. One more big breath. Exhale, relax that right arm down. Let's take the hands away from the back, bring them to the hips, and step forward. Let's do a little chair flow to create some symmetry between those sequences. Inhaling, sweeping the arms overhead. Exhale, sweep the arms back and around. Palms face up as we press our hips back, sitting the hips back with a flat back or neutral spine. Inhale, take the arms back and reach it up. Exhale, palms forward, sweep it around. Press the hips back. One more time. Inhaling overhead. Lips are pressing together. Exhale from the throat. Inhale, reaching up. Big breath in. Exhale, let's seal that into the heart. With our feet at hips width distance, taking our hands to the hips, finding our foundation in mountain. Stepping our right foot back, a casual stride, bending our left knee. Feel that the hips are lining up and leveling out. So to level the hips out, notice if one hip is high or one hip is low. Maybe move the hips left and right a little bit to get a sense of where they are in time and space. And then notice if you have one hip forward or one hip back. So maybe just sort of twist the hips a little bit and find where both hips appear to be anchored and where they appear to be tracking forward, both of them. Keeping that left knee bent. Let's bring the arms overhead. Traditional Warrior One, closing our eyes, straightening out the back right leg, pushing into the outer blade of that right foot, into the inner blade of the left foot. Tuning into a healthy inhale, a big exhale. From here, circling our arms back, taking the knuckles to the hips or low back. We're straightening our left leg. Inhale, pulling the elbows back, bowing out the chest. Big breath in place. And now exhale for pyramid, pushing the hips back, keeping a softness in that left leg. The left leg is straight, the knee stays soft. Eventually relaxing the head and the neck. Option to take the hands down to our leg, or even maybe touching the floor. Practicing a couple big exhales here from the throat. Opening the mouth, relaxing the jaw. One more. Let's bend our left knee. Walk the hands up onto the thigh, both hands on the thigh, supporting a flat back. Reverse swan dive, bring it up. Revisiting our Warrior One foundation. Let's pat ourselves on the back with our left hand. Taking the right hand, knuckles by the low back, so we're working that mindful stretch diagonal from the open right hip through the belly to the left armpit, cow's face arms. Relaxing the head and the neck. Breathe deeply into that upper left lung. One more big breath here, just like that. And now relax. Let's relax that left hand down, both hands coming to the hips for support. Shifting forward to step both feet to hips width distance. Finding symmetry with our chair flow once more, opening the palms. Inhale, circling the arms back, palms forward, circle back and through, palms up, hips back. This time adding in a little heel raise. This will change usually the sensations in the knees. Hopefully it changes the angular pressure and it can feel more comfortable in the knees. Drop the heels, inhale up. Exhale, circle back, palms up, hips back, flat back, lifting the heels as an option. Just one more, dropping the heels, big breath in. Exhale back, heel raise. Dropping the heels, inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, palms to the chest. Let's gather the breath 2 more times. Closing the eyes while we do this as we prepare for our standing balancing pose today. Meeting with our thumbs at the center of the chest, maybe pressing with the right thumb. And attempting to create that same pressure with the left thumb. So in doing this, in giving our body time to interpret the sensation and then attempt to replicate that sensation in both left and right thumbs, we are in essence encouraging both hemispheres of the brain to communicate and hopefully to balance some energies out on the left and right sides of the body. From here, let's let our weight shift over into our right foot. Slide the left foot in to touch the right and lift the left heel, bending the left knee. Let's turn our left knee to the side, resting the left heel on the inside of the right ankle for tree pose. Holding it right here. So just for today, maybe we don't lift our foot off the floor. Keep the toe on the floor and instead lengthen through the spine, bow the head and close the eyes. Notice when your body feels pulled in any direction, and notice how it feels to lean into that little bit of a pull from the earth. Noticing these curious sensations and allowing ourselves to explore that, to lean into that curiosity. Closing our eyes is enough to create a balancing pose. We do not have to stand on one leg. One more easy breath here. Now opening our eyes. Releasing that left leg, releasing the hands, maybe shaking everything out. Let's come to standing in our foundation. Slide the right foot in to touch the left. Inhale, gather the breath. Exhale, palms to the chest, pressing into that center point, balancing out the pressure, encouraging left and right hemispheres of the brain to communicate in a healthy way for the sake of our bodies. When we're ready, looking down, lifting our right heel, bending the right knee. Left knee does stay soft. Let's open to the side, pressing our right heel to the inside of the left ankle. Holding it right here to work with balance, closing our eyes. Again, noticing naturally when the body gets pulled, and there's a little tug, and then leaning into that energy, reminding ourselves we are safe, we are balanced, we are supported, and it is safe to explore those sensations that we get pulled towards. Just a couple more easy breaths here. Let's open our eyes and then relax the hands, shake off the feet, roll out the wrists. All right, this is a good time to grab a sip of water. Let's go grab water, grab any other amenities that you feel might be helpful, pillows, blankets, props of any kind. Taking our time to make our way down to the floor. Coming into a seated position. From seated, we'll bend our knees, touch the toes together, and now open both knees. So we already practiced butterfly pose, the essence of butterfly pose, opening one knee at a time in our warm-up. Now here we are nearing the end of our class. We are opening both knees. So this is creating an abduction, and sometimes abductions can create pain or discomfort in the outer hip. It does have the potential to irritate the sciatic nerve and low back. Therefore, if you want, lift your knees, maybe even keep the feet on the floor and just take the knees out a little bit. A little goes a long way with this, and there are so many different health benefits to explore. We don't have to have the knees wide open to achieve those health benefits. Wherever you are, sitting nice and tall. Make sure those feet are pushed away from the pelvic floor. As a general rule of thumb, whatever your own foot length is, you want that much space between your pelvis and your heels. Let's sit nice and tall. Exhale in place, keeping the spine tall, crown of the head lifted towards the sky. We may just want to stay right here and breathe. If you'd like to explore a stretch in the low back, start to use that exhale as a guide to shift forward, keeping the spine long. At some point, our bodies will tell us when it's time to soften, avoiding any forced flexion in the spine. If we round too much, that can actually, over time, be damaging to our posture. So the rounding in the spine is a very subtle, very natural, passive rounding through the upper back. Let's focus on breathing into the backs of the lungs. As we inhale, the breath drops down into our low back, just above the hips. And then the breath moves to the waistline in the back of the body. And finally, that breath fills the lungs, moving up behind our hearts, under the shoulder blades. Exhale, we soften our shoulders, middle back, low back, and hips. Staying here for 2 or 3 more breaths like this. Inhaling, low back, middle back, under the shoulders. Exhale, relax shoulders, middle back, low back. One more. Let's roll the breath up and down the sides of the spine. Bringing awareness to our low backs, maybe even visualizing the spinal column, the vertebra, the bones. Start to think about pushing away from the feet to stack the bones in the low back. And now begin to open the belly, just like we do in cat and cow. And finally, lifting the chin, the neck, and the head. Let's extend our left leg straight out in front of us. Keeping our right knee bent, we're bringing that right knee to neutral. And we could even cross the leg over if it's comfortable. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Let's take our left hand around our right shin, or even up on top of that right knee. Reaching the right arm up. As we inhale, we're circling the arm back, twisting towards the right. Lowering that right hand down to the floor. We could lean back into the right hand. Straightening that right arm. As we straighten that right arm, it will help to lengthen the spine, almost like a second spine. It's another spinal support for the body. Let's look over the right shoulder and just find the breath. The breath may try to move down into the belly, but because of this twist, because of the contraction, the breath might all on its own stay in the upper part of the lungs instead. Practicing a few more breaths here, just embracing a little quiet time as we breathe. Let's turn our gaze to neutral. Push off that back right hand, that second spine support. From here, let's bend our left knee, extend the right leg. We can keep the knee at neutral, keep the left foot on the inside of the right leg, or cross it over. And it can be different from left to right. Just because you do it one way on one side, you don't have to do it the same way on the other side. Tune into what feels good. Let's bring our right hand to the top of the left knee or onto the left shin. Inhale, left arm up, big breath in. Exhale, sweep it around, lower that left hand down and lean back into the left hand with the seated spinal twist. Looking over our left shoulder, we'll close our eyes and embrace a little bit of quiet time just to notice the breath. Notice where it's going, what parts of the body might shift or change with the breath. Is the inhale easier? Does the exhale feel more rewarding? Remembering there's no good or bad, there's no right or wrong in this. Just keep breathing and watching. Let's push off that back hand, bring the head and neck to neutral. Both hands coming around. We'll extend both legs, pushing through our heels, keeping a small pocket of air under the knees. Gentle knee bend. Placing our hands beside the body, fingertip light touch, keeping the chest open. Inhale, lengthening through the spine in seated stack. Maybe even breathing into the center chest so that we're slightly bowing out the chest, pulling those elbows back, working on strengthening the spine, the core, and trunk muscles. Overall, working to improve posture. And as we improve posture, we can improve neurological function in the body. Big inhalation, lengthening through the spine. Exhale, option to stay right where we are, especially if we know that maybe we've had to sit a lot. So maybe you've been sitting crafting or driving a lot. Maybe stay here so we reverse the effects of those movements. A lot of what we do in everyday life creates a lot of rounding in the upper back. So actively lengthening the spine, we may want to reverse that. Now, of course, we could always walk the hands forward and experiment with softening the spine. Sometimes we need just a little more of this. Ultimately, give your body time to experiment and know that you are ultimately creating the practice. I am here to make some suggestions, but your body tells you how to create your yoga practice just for you. No matter where you are with your spine, whether it's a forward fold or a tall seated staff, let's all shake the head, yes. Turn the head left and right, making sure that those energies in the shoulders, neck, throat, and head are open and unlocked. Find neutral, and at your body's leisure, slowly come up. Let's all slide our hands behind us and bend our knees. Let those knees sway left and right. When you're ready, roll over onto one side. Let's lie down in our sleeping child's position. This is one of my very favorite poses. I do recommend a block or a pillow under the head for this. That way you're able to slide that shoulder joint out from under the body Taking some pressure off the shoulder means taking pressure also off your neck. Hold it right here and just breathe easy. Maybe trying something just a little different today. Staying here just a little longer. We've done a lot of movement, a lot of breathing, a lot of core work today. As we lie down on our sides, again, we're taking pressure off the kidneys and adrenal glands. So this can be helpful in preventing things like adrenal fatigue and chronic fatigue syndrome, which can feel so common during the holidays as we may be entertaining more, or we may have a sense of urgency to get out and do different things that really keep our schedules full during the holiday season. And it could just be that, we're around more crowds. We might be experiencing more stress. Just finding a parking spot can be more stressful this time of year. Breathing easy, breathe into the low back, the middle back, and again under the shoulder blades. Maybe receive the breath through the hips. And as we receive the breath, we experience it as a wave of energy washing over the body. Reminding ourselves, this is really all we need. All we really need is a little quiet time. Opportunities where we embrace stillness. Opportunities to embrace the breath. This is what we really need. Of all the things that we might think we need, this is it. And maybe just remind yourself and remind your body and mind right here, right now, I have all that I need. All that I need is right here, right now. Keeping our body soft around the breath in these final few moments of our session together. Begin to receive the breath through the back of your body, through the back of the heart, between the shoulder blades. Perhaps see the breath approaching like a wave of cool blue light into the heart, through the chest as we exhale, seeing that wind of energy move out from the front of the body. Receiving the breath through the back of the body and then giving from the front of the body. Witnessing how we are part of that intimate, energetic exchange of give and take. We may want to stay here a little longer today. Our bodies will naturally tell us what we need when it comes to rest. Please stay here a little longer. If you have maybe just carved out this time today and you have some other things that you know are on your to-do list, then I'll encourage you to deepen your breath. If you know that you're going to need to get up and move around a little more, go ahead and deepen the breath first. And notice any movement inspired by the inhale. We call this inspiration from the inhalation. So noticing if your toes or your fingers want to move, maybe just lift your eyebrows and animate the face a little bit to create that inspiration with your breath. At some point, you might be bringing yourself up to seated. Wherever we are, let's place the hands over the heart. And again, we tune into the breath, into the heart space, receiving the breath through the back of the body, and then feel maybe an energy emitted out from the front of the body. Draw in a deep inhale. And now open those hands up in front of you and relax the hands. From here, we'll lengthen through the spine. In closing, I invite you to take a nice big breath with me and let it go with a sigh. Reminding ourselves, I have all that I need, and that includes all the time in the world as well. So letting go of any sense of urgency. From here, we can bow together in closing. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in our practice today. And until we meet again, please keep breathing. Have a great day.